Do you ever feel like life is just happening to you? Like you're constantly reacting to things instead of being in control? You make choices based on fear, a sudden impulse, or what your ego wants. And then you're left wondering why everything feels so chaotic. Well, the truth is actually pretty simple. Your decisions create your life, and the quality of those decisions comes directly from how clear your mind is. If your mind is a foggy mess, your life will be too. Stoicism has this powerful idea that mental clarity isn't some special gift you're born with. It's a skill you build. It's a discipline you practice every single day by being more aware, reflecting on your thoughts, and learning to manage your emotions. The very first step is to realize that your feelings, as strong as they are, aren't always the best advisors. The Stoics saw emotions like a storm, intense and powerful, but they always pass. Your decisions, on the other hand, can last a lifetime. When your mind is all shaken up, your judgment gets weak. So, the next time you feel that rush to react, just pause. Take a deep breath. Watch the emotion instead of letting it control you. The more space you can create between what happens and how you respond, the stronger and clearer your mind will become. Clarity starts when you take a step back, not when you rush forward. The second key principle is to look for facts, not just what you assume to be true. So many of us make decisions based on what we feel, not on what's real. We imagine problems that don't exist yet. We fear outcomes that have no basis in reality, and we act based on stories we've made up in our own heads. A Stoic mind, however, asks questions. What do I actually know for sure? What is the evidence for this? What is happening in this exact moment? The moment you can separate the hard facts from your fears, life becomes so much simpler. Most of our confusion comes from mixing up our imagination with reality. Next, you have to cut out the unnecessary noise. Our world is just filled with distractions, isn't it? Other people's opinions, constant notifications, drama, gossip, worrying about what others think of us, or what they expect from us. All of this stuff just clogs up your mind and makes it harder to think straight. A Stoic actively cuts away everything that doesn't truly matter. Why? Because a focused mind is a clear mind. So, anytime you feel overwhelmed, start reducing what's unnecessary. Silence all that external noise so you can finally hear your own thoughts. It's impossible to find clarity when your head is filled with the voices of the world instead of your own. Another powerful Stoic idea is to look at problems with reason, not with panic. When something goes wrong, our first instinct is often to ask, why is this happening to me? But what if you change to the question, what if you asked, what is this situation trying to teach me? What's the one action I can take right now? A calm mind can see opportunities, where an emotional mind only sees threats and danger. Honestly, most decisions get instantly better the moment you stop reacting with pure emotion and start responding with intelligence. Wisdom doesn't grow in chaos, it grows in calmness. Finally, remember that every single decision you make says something about who you are. A wise decision isn't always the easy one, and a clear-headed choice often means going against your immediate impulses. Choose the path that makes you stronger, not just the one that makes you comfortable for a moment. Choose what builds your character, not what just satisfies a temporary feeling. A strong mind doesn't look for a quick fix. It seeks long-term growth, clarity, and purpose. At the end of the day, your life is the sum of your decisions, and your decisions are a reflection of your mind. True clarity isn't found in a book, a motivational quote, or a sudden burst of inspiration. It's built brick by brick, through self-discipline, daily reflection, and mastering your inner world. Every day presents a choice. Think clearly or think emotionally, and every time you choose clarity, here's one of the most powerful skills you can ever develop. Controlling your emotions before making a decision. Why? Because most of our biggest mistakes are made in moments of high emotional intensity. Think about it. When anger flares up, when fear takes over, or when jealousy and pressure cloud your judgment, your ability to just slow down is what separates a wise choice from a regrettable one. The ancient Stoics knew this. They taught that a calm mind sees clearly, while a disturbed mind can barely see anything at all. The real challenge isn't the situation you're in, it's the emotional storm brewing inside you. When something happens, that first gut reaction is almost never the best one. Your emotions scream at you to act immediately, as if speed will solve the problem. But clarity doesn't come from speed. It comes from stillness. Every time you pause, even for a single moment, you weaken the grip that emotional impulse has on you. So instead of rushing into action, take a step back and just observe what you're feeling. Ask yourself, is this emotion temporary? Am I reacting based on facts? Or just on how I feel right now? Most of the time, emotions are just like waves passing through your mind. If you wait a little, their intensity fades. Decisions made in the middle of an emotional storm almost always look foolish once the storm has passed. I'm sure you can think of times when you said something out of anger, made a choice out of panic, or just reacted impulsively. Later, when you cooled down, you probably thought, why on earth did I do that? That's your rational mind returning after the emotion disappeared. The Stoics had a powerful principle. Never let temporary feelings create permanent consequences. This idea alone can save you from so much unnecessary damage. So, when something triggers you, take a deep breath. Practice creating a space between your emotion and your action. Your feelings might be intense, but that doesn't mean they have to control your behavior. You are not your emotions. You are the one observing them. Emotions are just visitors. They come and they go, but your decisions, they stick with you. If you can learn to just pause, even for a few seconds, you'll find you have far more control than you ever believed. In that tiny gap, your mind regains its power. Clarity enters through that space between the stimulus and your response. Most people never give themselves that space, and that's why life can feel so chaotic and out of control. Now, controlling emotions doesn't mean suppressing them or pretending they don't exist. It's about understanding them without letting them make your decisions for you. Feel the anger, but don't let it speak for you. Feel the fear, but don't let it choose for you. Feel the pressure, but don't rush because of it. Your emotions are signals, not commands. You should listen to them, learn from what they're telling you, but never follow them blindly. A Stoic mind asks, what choice would I make if I were calm? And then acts on that answer. If you can master this one principle, every single area of your life will improve. Your relationships, your work, your self-control, and your mental stability. A calm mind sees reality, not a distorted version of it. Emotional thinking blows problems out of proportion, invents fears that aren't there, and pushes you into conflicts you don't need. Clear thinking, on the other hand, sees the situation for what it truly is and helps you choose wisely. Remember these. The more emotional you are, the more control you lose. The calmer you are, the more powerful your decisions become. Every single time you stop yourself from reacting impulsively, you are training your mind to stay conscious and aware instead of being dragged around by your feelings. Over time, this emotional patience becomes second nature. Instead of reacting instantly, you'll find yourself automatically pausing and thinking. This is how true self-mastery is built. One decision, one pause, and one breath at a time. Want to know one of the biggest protectors of your mind? It's seeking facts instead of assumptions. Why? Because most of the problems we experience are created by what we imagine, not by what is real. Think about it. We have a natural tendency to believe our own thoughts, even when fueled by fear or insecurity. The ancient Stoics knew this. They understood that the mind can create illusions that feel incredibly real. If you don't separate fact from assumption, you end up living in a world shaped by emotion, not truth. When something happens, what's the first thing most people do? They jump to conclusions. They assume someone has bad intentions, that a situation will go wrong, or they predict negative outcomes with zero evidence. This habit leads to total emotional chaos. Assumptions create fear, and fear creates suffering. But when you start asking yourself, what is actually true here? You immediately shrink the power of your imagination. Instead of reacting based on feelings, you start evaluating based on facts. The question, what do I actually know, is a powerful filter that strips away unnecessary anxiety. For example, imagine someone doesn't reply to your message. The mind instantly goes into overdrive. They're ignoring me. I'm being disrespected. They don't like me anymore. But these are just projections of our own insecurities, not facts. The truth could be anything. They might be busy. Their phone battery might have died, or they just haven't seen it yet. Our assumptions build these dramatic emotional stories around neutral events. That's how the mind tricks us. Most of our fears come from imagining future problems. We worry about outcomes that haven't happened yet and stress over possibilities, not realities. The Stoics said we suffer more in imagination than in reality, and modern life proves this every single day. We worry about what others think, what might happen, and about scenarios that never even occur. If you want peace, stop letting your imagination run the show. When making decisions, always separate emotion from information. Ask yourself, is this something I know for sure, or am I just guessing? What evidence do I have? Am I reacting to a story in my head? These questions slow down emotional thinking and bring clarity. And here's another key step toward clear thinking. Removing unnecessary noise. Our minds are constantly being pulled in a million directions by distractions that steal our focus and drain our energy. Most people never actually hear their own thoughts because their minds are filled with the voices and expectations of others. When your attention is scattered, your ability to think deeply becomes weak. Stoicism teaches that clarity requires simplicity, and simplicity begins by removing what isn't essential. Every day, you're bombarded with news, social media, arguments, and drama. How much of that actually helps you? Most of it just confuses you, distracts you, or makes you compare yourself to others. Protect your mind from useless noise. Your attention is one of your most valuable resources. Where your attention goes, your life follows. When you start filtering what you allow into your mind, something powerful happens. You start hearing your own thoughts instead of everyone else's. Clarity requires silence, not constant stimulation. Great decisions come from reflection, not distraction. Many people think they lack clarity, when really, they just lack quiet. Identify the sources of noise in your life. Maybe it's negative social media feeds, people who constantly complain, or chaotic environments. The more noise you remove, the calmer your thoughts become. This is why Stoics practiced solitude, not loneliness, but intentional distance from noise. You don't get wiser by consuming more information. You get wiser by consuming the right information and ignoring the rest. And a huge part of this is separating your mind from other people's opinions. What others think isn't in your control, so why let it control your thinking? When your environment gets chaotic, simplify it. When your screen gets overwhelming, turn it off. When your thoughts get crowded, just breathe and return to the present moment. Clarity doesn't require more thinking, it requires less noise. Stillness isn't empty. It's where truth can emerge. It allows your mind to organize thoughts and make decisions based on reason, not distraction. The world will always be noisy, but clarity belongs to those who learn how to silence what doesn't matter. So, start today. Choose facts over assumptions and silence over noise. Your mind will stop working against you and start. When life throws a challenge your way, what's your first reaction? Is it panic, fear, frustration? For most of us, that's the default. Our minds jump straight to the worst-case scenario. But what if there was a better way? What if you could train your mind to see problems not as disasters, but as puzzles waiting to be solved? This is the foundation of a strong, disciplined mind. It's about choosing reason over panic. Stoicism teaches us that emotion clouds our judgment, while reason brings clarity. When panic takes over, we become blind and impatient. But when reason leads, even the most overwhelming situation becomes manageable. So, the next time you face something difficult, don't ask, why is this happening to me? Instead, ask, what is this situation really asking of me right now? Step back and become an observer. Imagine you're watching someone else go through it. This little bit of distance creates space for solutions that panic would have hidden. Panic wants you to believe everything is urgent, that you have to react immediately. But reason knows that very few things truly require an instant response. Emotion screams, do something now. Reason whispers, think first. When you center yourself, even in the middle of chaos, the situation starts to look less threatening. You begin to see possibilities instead of just problems. A calm mind has the space to think creatively and objectively. Even if a situation is genuinely painful, reason allows you to break it down. What are the facts? What are my options? What is truly required of me? What can I learn from this? With every question, your decision-making gets stronger and your emotional reactions get weaker. This is how you find clarity in the chaos. The Stoics believed every challenge holds a hidden opportunity for growth, a chance to practice courage. patience, or wisdom. But panic blocks you from seeing it. Panic exaggerates problems, turning small hills into towering mountains in your mind. Reason breaks those mountains down into small, solvable steps. Many problems that seem impossible are just magnified by our own emotions. Imagine a storm at sea. The emotional mind screams and thrashes, desperate for escape. But the rational mind studies the waves, watches the wind, and carefully guides the ship. The storm is the same, but the mindset navigating it determines the outcome. When you choose reason over panic, you stop being a victim of your circumstances and become the strategist of your life. This choice between panic and reason is closely tied to another fundamental decision: choosing growth over temporary comfort. Most people live by what feels good in the moment, not what makes them stronger in the long run. Comfort offers relief, but it rarely leads to growth. Every time you pick immediate comfort, you're sacrificing long-term progress. Think about it. When you face a decision, there are usually two paths. The comfortable one feels pleasant now. It avoids struggle and keeps you in a familiar zone. The difficult one requires courage, discipline, and effort, forcing you to move beyond your limits. Which one do you usually take? A Stoic mind understands that challenges are just opportunities in disguise. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you build mental resilience. When something feels difficult, instead of asking, "How can I avoid this?" ask, "Who will I become if I go through this?" The reward for facing difficulty is personal development. Nothing worthwhile ever comes easy. The more you avoid discomfort, the more fragile you become. The more you embrace it, the stronger you grow. Choosing growth also means choosing to face the truth, even when it is so uncomfortable. It means looking at your weaknesses instead of pretending they don't exist. Comfort hides your flaws. Growth exposes them so you can fix them. This is why so many people stay stuck. They refuse to confront the reality that would demand change. Growth is uncomfortable because it requires leaving old parts of yourself behind. Old habits, old beliefs, old reactions. That discomfort is a sign you're making progress. You're becoming someone new. Ultimately, this isn't about grand, dramatic gestures. Growth is built through small, consistent decisions. Choosing to stay calm instead of reacting. Choosing discipline over distraction. Choosing reflection over impulse. With each choice, you prioritize your long-term strength over short-term ease. Eventually, this becomes natural. You stop fearing difficulty because you understand its value. Discomfort is no longer your enemy. It's your teacher. And the person. Why do some people seem to build incredible lives while others feel stuck? Is it luck, fate, or something else entirely? The truth is much simpler. Your life is the result of the choices you make every single day, and the quality of those choices depends on the clarity of your mind. Many believe their life is determined by circumstances, but clear thinking shows us that we are the architects of our own future. Every action you take, every path you choose, and every decision you make becomes a building block of your life. When your thinking is emotional, rushed, or unclear, your decisions reflect that confusion, leading to a future you didn't intend. But when your mind is calm, logical, and conscious, your decisions guide you toward a stronger, wiser version of yourself. The ancient Stoics taught that the mind is the architect of destiny. Every single moment presents a choice. Even when you feel you have no control over a situation, you always have the power to decide how to react, what to focus on, and what meaning you give to it. These inner decisions are the seeds that grow into your outer reality. If your mind is clouded by anxiety or fear, you might choose avoidance instead of action, missing opportunities. If your thinking is driven by impulse, you will probably choose what feels good now instead of what is actually good for you in the long run. But when your thinking is guided by clarity, you choose based on your values, not your fleeting emotions. Values lead you forward, building a life with direction. Emotions, on the other hand, often lead you sideways or even backward, keeping you trapped in cycles you want to escape. A clear mind understands that every decision carries consequences. Each choice either strengthens your life or weakens it. This awareness brings a sense of responsibility. You start to see that your future isn't being shaped someday, but right now, today, in this very moment. We often think it's the big, life-altering decisions that matter most. But it's the small, daily choices that truly set your direction. Quiet decisions shape loud outcomes. How you spend your time this evening. How you handle a small conflict. How you respond to a moment of frustration. These are the things that create your future. A powerful idea from Stoicism is that clarity comes from living according to reason, not just emotion. When you rely only on your feelings, life becomes unpredictable. Feelings can change in an instant, but clarity comes from principles and wisdom, which remain stable even in chaos. When your mind has clarity based on your core principles, you act with consistency. You're no longer easily swayed by what others think or by what temporarily feels good. You become guided by a deeper purpose instead of a passing impulse. And this sense of direction is what gives your life true meaning and fulfillment. Clear thinking also has another incredible benefit. It dramatically reduces regret. Most of our regrets don't come from things we tried and failed at, but from decisions we made emotionally or things we avoided because of fear. When your mind is calm, you can see the long-term view. You start making decisions that your future self will thank you for. You're not just reacting to survive the moment, you are responding to build a better future. Think about it. One wise decision today can prevent 10 problems tomorrow. Clarity helps you avoid unnecessary mistakes and suffering. As you practice clear thinking daily, your confidence naturally grows. You begin to trust yourself more because you know your decisions are coming from a grounded, rational place. This inner trust becomes your greatest strength. You stop doubting yourself, and life starts feeling more manageable and less overwhelming. Step by step, choice by choice, your future becomes something you consciously shape rather than something that just happens to you. Ultimately, the greatest gift of clear thinking is freedom. You free yourself from the tyranny of your emotions, from the distracting noise of the outside world, and from the paralyzing fear of uncertainty. You begin to live with intention, and when you live with intention, the future no longer feels like a scary, unknown territory. It feels like something you are actively and powerfully creating. A clear mind builds a powerful life, one decision at a time. Thanks for watching, and if this resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe for more.